Hi guys, Louis in the UK, Elvis Presley fan on keto. I'm trying to find some nice light-hearted stuff. I thought I was going to just record it, but then I thought, let's do it as a live stream. I haven't told many people, so I'll just very, very quickly just say we're live on the diet channel. I just tend to put live diets. Live diet. I'll get the chat app. I found this lovely story on EP Fan Archive's little collection of videos. He's got a brilliant channel. I'm going to do this and I'm going to jump over to Defending Elvis Presley and do a couple of bits over there. I'm trying to keep them a bit shorter because I'm jumping between channels. I want to look after both channels. Obviously, Elvis Presley Fan on Keto is a new baby, so I'm trying to look after it. We are reading this book as well, this beautiful book, Once Upon a Time, Elvis and Anita. We're going to read a bit of that, but not now. Now, I found this lovely story. Let me see if I can get your chat, guys. Let's have a look. Okay. Right. Oh, no, we've got Joanne here. Joanne. We've got Cherie. It actually works. So how are we going, guys? I nearly did it privately. Then I was going to upload it. But I thought, oh, come on, we'll do it together. So I've just told a couple of people. Let's tell Tony we're live. Now, not everyone knows we have two channels. So who we got here? We've got Karen as well. Let's tell Lorna. So I think you're going to enjoy this, guys. It's a nice little cute story about Elvis. Jamie K, who, as far as I can see, now I don't know much about Jamie K, but she was, I think, the first Elvis Presley fan club. It sort of happened by accident. We're going to listen to her beautiful story. Hi, Jean. We are going to stop and start it. Elvis met her. It's quite, it's a lovely story. Beautiful. I found it on EP Fan Archive's video collection. Obviously, there's a lot of, it's all over YouTube. If you really look for it, many people have got this video. But I just thought, I want to watch this with you guys. So let's just tell a few people. I hope you're all well. Hi, Denise. I'll be messing around with the camera, so I hope you can hear me good and the camera is good. Can you hear me good? Is the camera good? I'm moving like that. It looks like it's okay. I've had a tough time with this camera. It's been a pain in the ass, but it's the one that has the best audio. So my voice sounds more rounded and it gives the best picture. Jane, Elvis Presley is the best forever. Jane, are you new? Jane, have you been on before? So guys, have you got a cup of tea? To all the Americans waking up later, good morning. Hope you had a good night's sleep. Catch you later. Put it in the comments where you are, what time, how it is over where you are. Obviously, we have many people in the UK, Australia, Canada, many countries. So you're all very welcome. I just want to tell a couple more people. Did we tell Debbie? Let's tell Debbie. Debbie, are you on? Right, let's tell her we're live on the diets. Of course, guys, we've got two channels. The Defending Elvis channel is obviously quite serious. We do a lot of defending. Now, I found a very good Dave Stanley introduction video to the book. Now, what I didn't know is that Dave Stanley also wrote a book to do with, obviously, his life with Elvis as his stepbrother from a Christian point of view. So that introduction to the book, I think it was like 6-7 years ago. I do want to play that over on Defending Elvis Presley after here, probably. It has been over a year. It's Jane. Where have you been hiding, Jane? Where are you? Louis, it has been over a year. It couldn't have been that long. Welcome back, Jane. Some of you old names are coming back. Judith messaged me as well this morning. I was so pleased that Judith gave me a shout out. Some of these old names that were on every day are drifting back to us. I like that. I like that. It pleases me because I miss some of the old names, guys. I'm not going to lie. Some of you Team Elvis from 6, 7, 8 months ago. I miss you guys. Yeah. Let's have a look. So let's just go on to the Defending Elvis. Let's just tell a few people we're live on the diet. So we've got Nicola. Hi, Lorna. Emily. Where are we? Lucy. We've got some new people as well, like Lucy and Clara Maria are new people. I love them both. They're both great. Hi, guys. Let's tell Elizabeth. Elizabeth is great. She's doing so well on the diet. I don't know if you know, guys, Elizabeth has been doing the diet. I'm very proud Elizabeth is doing so well. Okay, we've got Jean is on here. So there's Jennifer. We got all day, guys. We got all day. We're not in a rush. So my wife's about to go to work, so I can do a few videos. Then I want to go for a run. Deborah, are you awake? Deborah? Right, what was that comment from? So I'm just quickly checking your comments, guys. All right, for a year. Oh, Jane, sorry. Has it been a year? Do you know what? It could have been. I don't look at the dates. It has probably been a year, hasn't it, Jane? All right, you might have joined us before we became Defending Elvis. Yeah, I agree. Yes, I see what you mean now. Oh, Jane, I never forgot you. What it is, there's 3 Janes. Jane, there's 3 Janes. So, I get confused. Yeah. So, we won't forget you, Jane. Right. Right. So, let's tell a couple more people. Pamela. Okay, right. Karen's on. Thea. Now, Thea is lovely to me. Live diet. So, Jane, did you know that we had another channel? Can I ask you that? Did you know that we had Elvis Presley Fan on Keto? The purpose of this channel is it's more light-hearted. We're playing song reactions. We're doing books, movies. Of course, we talk about our health, our diet, the keto diet, the carnivore diet. But we do still do a lot of Elvis-related stuff here. So did you know about it, Jane? Let's have a look. Yes, right, that's good. Well, I'm so glad you found us here because some of you have found it difficult to find us here. Right, don't worry. I'm going to start the story now. You're going to love it. You are absolutely going to love it. It's a beautiful story. You've probably watched it before, but I'm proud to play it. We are going to start it because it is a reaction. We're not allowed to just play these videos without interrupting them and putting our commentary and our views. Yeah. Okay. I think that's everyone. Stacey. Right. I'm going to get going on it now, guys. I think that's everyone. Greg. We've got Josie. Josie, where have you been? I know Josie's around because she commented on our Facebook page yesterday. So I know she's around. She must be very busy. So obviously we have a Facebook page called Defending Elvis Presley. Please join it. Please join the chat so you guys can chat on Messenger. Right, we're there. Right, okay. Now, Jane, have you noticed that we've been chatting to Billy Stanley? Do you know Billy Stanley told me to phone him yesterday. I was at a meal celebrating my son's 15th birthday. We all went for a curry, and whilst we were in the curry, Billy Stanley contacted me to speak to him then and there. I couldn't because we were in a meal celebrating my son's birthday. So, yeah, Billy Stanley is one of our friends. See, look, look, I've got another Jane here, Jane Muchkin. You're not Jane Muchkin, are you? You're not Jane. I have not been on for 3 weeks, but can remember. Yeah, so Billy Stanley, we've been reading his book, The Faith of Elvis. It's a beautiful book. We're very impressed with this book. I've really been doing my research, and I've really started to understand that Billy's a good guy. He defends Elvis every day. He's been unfairly blamed for mistakes that his family have made. Obviously, we have strong views about the mistakes. Obviously, we don't agree with the mistakes of the family, but Billy has been sort of persecuted for these mistakes, but it had nothing to do with Billy. So we are definitely friends of Billy. He supports our channel. He wants me to do some interviews with him. We're going to be friends with Billy, 100%. And I'm really looking forward to getting it together with Billy. Right, so there's Janet, I think, live diets. Right, nearly there, guys, nearly there. Now, I have to message everyone, because if I don't message everyone, they'll message me saying, why haven't you messaged me? And I'll be like, okay. Right, that's everyone. That's everyone. Yes, okay. Now, guys, let's watch this beautiful video. I'm going to make it bigger. I think I've sorted out the sound so you can hear it. Dedicated to Jamie K. Always in our hearts, we love you. So I don't know when she passed. This video was posted a year ago. So let's play it and go from there. Oh, she was so beautiful.
I am so excited about this because I really want to focus on you being a teenager in the 50s. I think we talked about that. And I never realized that your generation was the first teenagers, that was the first time kids of that age were called teenagers. I never dawned on me.
It was also the first rock culture, first
yes
rock and roll culture in the world. So we're the original bad guys in some people's view.
No, I love it. I learned so much researching you, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you are just a legend.
Well, I'm old. I don't know if being a legend means that you've been around 1,000 years, I guess.
No.
Now, guys, this is a real treat. Yep, Jane, I've got your message. So now I know which Jane you are. I'll make sure I message you when we go live on both channels. So this is a real treat, guys. Let me know if you've seen this before, but this is a real treat. We're going to stop and start because we have to.
No.
Which,
no.
if I wasn't old, I wouldn't have got to have the fun I did. So I didn't miss anything.
You definitely have lived a life in exciting times. I mean, just wow, just everything that you have got to see and experience. Yeah, you blew me away. I'm very impressed by you, and it takes a lot for me to get impressed. I am just in awe of you, to be honest.
So guys, let me know that you can hear it okay. Let me know everything's working. Let's carry on.
Well, even at the time, at age 16, 17, I was thinking, this is a lot of fun that's going on. I'm having a lot of fun. I think I'm going to try to freeze frame this in my mind and keep my attitude and everything I've got just about like it is throughout my whole life. That was just my little secret teenage promise to myself, that I was never going to get really, really like old in my thinking or old in my outlook. Not that there's anything wrong with maturity and all those good things. I'm cashing in on that big time. I love it. But to always have that ideal and a fresh look at things, and looking at things not in a jaded way or the way it's always been, so this is the way we do it, was more like, what's new? What can we do new? Where is truth? What's real? What's fun? What's not fun? What do I want to do? And that outlook. And my daughter, Anna, she wrote me a card like about 10 years ago saying, Mom, on Mother's Day, Mom, you've done this, 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 and this, and this, and this, and this, and this. And she listed all these.
You know what? I don't know how old this lady is, but Jamie, but I would say she's in her 70s, yeah? But I tell you what, she is full of life. She is so vibrant. She was a beautiful lady, wasn't she? She was stunning. Let's keep going.
And she said, and all the time you were able to remain 16 years old.
Oh my gosh.
He's got it.
Yes.
And so when I read that, I said, oh, I flashed back to 17 years old, and I'm thinking, well, yeah, I wanted to keep this outlook. I wanted to keep that fresh outlook on everything throughout my whole life and never just get bogged down in everything like so many people do, with the past or mistakes or that kind of stuff. So it was when she said that, I thought, wow, okay, that's it. We did it.
And I think it's very important to stay in the present, like mentally and emotionally. I think,
yes,
I know in my experience when I was raising my kids, I was always looking in the future. I can't wait till they're this age or when we're in this part of life.
Yeah.
It's actually really good advice, all of this, guys.
And I didn't realize until now, wow, I lived a lot of my life on fast forward. And I wish someone had took me like 20 years ago and said, stop, like live in the moment, live now, because I think every passing day that we're in the good old days. We just don't know it yet. We don't know we're in the good old days until we're not in it anymore. But
I've learned with my kids, because I've got 5 kids with my wife, the little ones are now 15, 16, 18, like that. Whereas Tino and Yasmin are 4 and 8. So you have to make the most of it. Most of us here have had kids, haven't we? Grandkids, great grandkids. So it goes so fast.
But
right. Well, I think everything you've done in the past is part of the tapestry of your life. You can't erase it, but it's still there and a presence with you. And you can either maximize it or minimize it, or just be moderate in accepting what happened and try to get the best out of it. And don't forget the fun. Oh my, don't forget the fun. You might forget the heartbreaks here and the times you stubbed your toe, the mistakes you made that, oh God, did I really do that? And you can't dwell on that. You have to just, I think, keep a focus on a positive future. Think about the future, because the future is important and planning is important, but don't be obsessed with it. You're right. Stay into the reality of the moment of the day, and don't live in the past and don't live in the future. But like you say, and then on the other hand, they have a part, the past and the present and the future. They all play a role in your overall outlook, I think.
Let's start right there with that philosophy, because you, being a teenager in the 50s, one of the first teenagers to be called that, let's start in the 1950s.
Right, here goes, guys. Let's find out all about Jamie.
What was Kay Wheeler like at that age in the 50s?
That's a really fascinating story, even today. And I think Kay Wheeler is the same Kay Wheeler in 2021. I've tried to hold on to that, okay? I didn't want to lose a good thing. And I think that, I was like a little bit strong in my outlook at things and independent, fiercely independent. And I just questioned everything about, not everything, but most things about the society in general, that they were just like really, really square. And did I really want to grow up and be like them? And the answer was.
So I know where she's going with this. So obviously the 1950s were very bland, had become a bit boring. I'm on about the early 50s, the late 40s. You know, I'm sure some of you will disagree and say, you know, obviously we know the Frank Sinatra sort of generation, but compared to rock and roll, so let's see how this is obviously how a teenager saw it. I think if you were a teenager in the 40s and the early 50s, you would have seen it differently and thought it was great. But Jamie, in the mid 50s, she saw everything as being quite boring. I think this is what she's trying to say.
No way. And of course, we had the movies like Rebel Without a Cause and Marlon Brando and the Wild One and all that.
Yeah, we love these. Come on, Rebel Without a Cause, James Dean, Marlon Brando's film, amazing. We know that Elvis loved Rebel Without a Cause. We know about Natalie Wood. Also, he became friends with Adam, is that his name? And even the King Creole movie, it was meant for James Dean, wasn't it, guys?
It was super cool. And it was totally opposite of going in and sitting at a desk all day long in a business suit and everybody, you know, just in the suburbs and everything, you know, all ducks in a row and boring plus tax. And so I just thought that doesn't appeal to me. I'm off for something else. I think something more fun, something more excited. I don't think that I was going to fit into the mechanics of their society. So I guess maybe it was a rebel outlook. That's why, you know.
So I actually remember the first time I watched Rebel Without a Cause. Obviously, it was a rerun. I watched it in the late 70s, I think. I loved it. I was blown away by that film. Literally blown away. The other one that had a massive impact on me was West Side Story. West Side Story was phenomenal.
In the Marlon Brando show, you know, they ask him, "What are you rebelling against?" And he said, "What do you got?"
What do you got? I love that line.
So I think maybe that was the mantra of the first baby rock culture in the world. And the first teenager says, "What are you rebelling against? What do you got?" I think we were just unplugged to what our parents had just set up for us, the mold, the mechanics.
Do you think it was with that mindset that the music genre rock and roll really appealed to you?
I don't really think I was thinking that deeply about all of it. All I know is when I heard Hank Ballard and the Midnighters sing in the original Blacks, the Clovers, that's, you know, Little Mama, and Hank Ballard did I Just Love Your Sexy Ways, and one going, oh, nobody talks like that. This was the first rock and roll. And
I love, she's literally painting a picture of how it was just as Elvis was coming up.
so, you know, and of course the rock and roll music was unbelievable. It was something we hadn't heard, even though there was some great, the big band era, and there was Sister Rosetta Tharpe and my mother, we had those records. We had some good music. I grew up hearing some good music, you know, the Nat King Cole and some of the greats of that. But when I heard the rock and roll, it was like, oh, let's go. It was like, let's dance. That was the first thought, let's dance. And my cousin brought the rock and roll music of the Black was like, you know, secret underground with the teenagers, because we knew we were doing something that our parents really didn't love, would freak out, and especially in the South, in Texas. So this was like secret agent time, you know. Hey, did you get the records? Oh, what do you got? Oh, Little Willie John. Oh my God. You know, it was like bring your records over, and whoever had an open place at the house where the parents were going to be gone or something, that was where the scene was. So we were doing underground rock and roll with the Black rhythm and blue people before Elvis ever hit the spotlight. Get that right. We were dancing. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, it
Guys, while it's playing, I'm going to make a coffee. I'll leave it playing for you, okay, guys?
was just, of course, rock and roll. We'd never heard it before. And, you know, you still hear good rock and roll done today and you love it. You say, wow, that's really something. So back then, suppose you've never heard it before and you start hearing it from the great Black rock and rollers. I mean, you're getting the real deal and, you know, bam, it was hit with an impact. Yeah.
And in the 50s, you were a dancer. I watched some of your videos, Miss Kay. Let me tell you, girl, you could move. You could move. I'm like, wow, check her out.
Well, I look at them today and I think, oops, they might be X-rated even today. But at the time when there was no such thing as that, and I didn't know any better, I was just doing, like Elvis said, I just do what I feel. And I mean, that was the same kind of thing. I just love the music. Obviously, I love the music, and we were bopping and rocking, doing the parties thing before the Elvis thing even came into being. So we were ready for him. We were like,
right,
the eye of the tiger. We were waiting for something like that to show up. And there he was, out of nowhere.
Do you remember the first time you heard Elvis Presley sing?
We were listening, my sister Linda and I, we were looking for black radio stations because that's the only way we could hear rock and roll. Remember, you had a segregated South, especially. We were just spinning the dial one night about 9 o'clock, and we were going to our black radio station. All of a sudden, we heard this singer singing Mystery Train, train. And I'm thinking, wow, that's different. Let's listen a minute. So we stopped and we listened to the Mystery Train, and we were going, it was like a bomb had hit us. It was like a saucer had landed in the room. It was like, what and who is that? And all of a sudden, the other guy came on and said, this is the Big D Jamboree, and you've just heard Elvis Presley singing Mystery Train. I never knew I was going to get on that Mystery Train and maybe never get off, but at that moment, it was like, wow, but we didn't see him, or we didn't know anything about how he performed or what he looked like or anything like that. It was just, wow, this is unbelievable.
Guys, can I ask you, there's 17 of you watching. Do any of you know about this story? Have you watched it before? The first president of the American Elvis Presley fan club that actually met Elvis up close and personal.
So we liked it. So about a week later, I was at a record store and I saw a poster on a wall, and there was this guy leaning back, and he was like, super good looking, and it said Elvis Presley, and it said Mystery Train. I forgot to forget. It was a poster. It was a little poster, like an 8x10 or 8.5 by 11. It wasn't a big one. And I said, is that Elvis Presley? Is that who we heard the other night? Hold everything. And so I got the poster off the wall and I put it in my notebook. I thought, this is mine. I said, Linda.
I love her showing her reaction as a teenager. I think she was like 15 or something. Yeah, 16, 15, maybe younger. But I remember discovering Elvis. And when I discovered him, the first thing I did, I got my mum to get me a magazine that had a big unfolding poster that was like, to me, felt like giant size, but because I was so small, so young. And I had this poster of Elvis on my wall. Eventually I had more than one, but there was one where he was wearing a black suit with his arm like that. You probably know the picture. And I woke up to that for over 10 years. I kept that picture of Elvis on my bedroom wall.
Look at this. This was the Elvis Presley. So we put a face to the music that we heard. And
Yeah.
What kind of face can you imagine? Oh my goodness. And, just the whole thing. So that was the first time I saw him. I still have the yellow poster.
Guys, I'm warning you, it gets a bit saucy, this interview does. She really does get to know Elvis. But it's a very long interview, so we're probably going to have to do it in part 1 and part 2. Okay, guys? But let's keep going.
To this minute. And that was my first encounter with how Elvis looked. But in my first encounter with how Elvis sounded.
So can you leave it in the comments? Anyone that's watching this later that is asleep at the moment in America, leave it in the comments. Do you remember the first time you saw Elvis, whether it was on a picture, whether it was in a newspaper or a magazine, some of you on TV, through the movies, or just seeing him on a record cover in the record shop? Tell me the first time, and do you remember how you felt? Now, for the women out there watching, a lot of you here are female. Do you remember thinking how handsome he was? Do you remember loving his personality, his charisma, his charm? Was it at the movies, in the cinema? Let me know, guys. Leave it in the comments.
That was sold American. I mean, that's it. Done deal.
And so I read, and let me know if this is true or not, and please elaborate. Now, I read that you went to visit your aunt at the radio station where she worked, and
now, guys, this story gets more interesting and more interesting as it goes along.
You were talking to the DJ at the time about Elvis Presley and how all the girls were just in love with him and he should check it out.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that there was no fan club at the time. So this DJ announces on the radio that you are the fan club president. And at the time, there was no fan club. And that is kind of how it kind of started you, Kay Wheeler, as the first fan club president of Elvis Presley fan club.
That's close. You're 99% accurate. The conversation is that this jockey came into my aunt's office, who was a lady executive back in the days when lady executives were not lady executives. She was at a top radio station, KLIF, in Dallas. And so he came in and said, "You can't believe this record I got." The guy's name, it's the craziest name I've ever heard. Elvis Presley, he's made fun of it,
Mm-hmm.
And I just turned around and said, "Oh, Elvis Presley? Huh, I know who he is." Well, we even have a fan club for him. Of course I did, my two sisters and myself at least. And he said, "Really?" I said, "Yeah, he's going to be the biggest thing there is." And this, and so later he came back to my aunt and got my address. And wow. He announced on the radio on his Saturday night show, he played the record and as a joke, he said, "And if you want to join the Elvis Presley fan club, write Kay Wheeler, 3929 Amherst Street, Dallas, Texas." And he announced it. And this radio station owned a series of stations in Texas. It wasn't just one. They had quite a few stations that went all throughout these smaller towns of Texas. So the following Monday, I happened to play hooky from school. I was home. And my mother...
Oh, you little rebel, you.
Oh, I was terrible. And so my mother comes in and she says, the mailman came in, there's stacks of mail on the front porch. And she said, they're all addressed to you. I didn't know he did it. Okay. So she brought him in and we put all the letters out. There were hundreds of them. I said, what is going on? And I finally opened one up and it said, "Dear Kay, we heard your fan club announced, your Elvis Presley fan club announced on the Bruce Hayes show." Said, "We want a member. We would like a picture and a card." A picture and a card, I had that. And so it was an instant fan club. We did have the two sisters and myself, the three. And all of a sudden there were hundreds there. Mm-hmm. Wham. That's how it started. It was almost like an instant thing. We love instant things. This was an instant happening. Wow. And all about this cute guy on the yellow poster. I'm thinking, could this be fate? So there was an address on that yellow poster. It was Bob Neal in Memphis, Tennessee. So I just wrote him and I said, "These people all want to be in Elvis's fan club." I said, "Please tell me what to do and point me in a direction." The next letter I got about 2 weeks later was from Colonel Tom Parker's office. And the lady said that they had no fan club facilities set up for Elvis because he was just one of their attractions.
Right, just 1 second. I'll just quickly read Karen's comment. "Yes, the first time I watched him was in Blue Hawaii on TV and couldn't believe I was seeing the man we'd been dancing to in my living room. I was just a little girl and I loved him from then on." Jane says, "The good old days." And then Carolyn, "I was a huge fan of the YouTube band at the age of 9, but after discovering Elvis 2 years ago, he's all I listen to and care about." I feel the same way, Carolyn. So, I've said it a million times. Once you get that connection with Elvis, many of you have had it from the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. For me, it all started in the early 70s. You change. Something in you moves, goes, you are a different person from then on. Look, I've just set the camera off again. But you get what I mean, guys?
at that time, Colonel Parker managed Hank Snow, who that was a pumpkin western guy. It was a big shot at that. And Elvis was just a little add-on. And he said that you can do whatever, the colonel says to tell you to do whatever you want to do about a fan club, but we don't have any facilities. Okay. Whoops, here we go. So, you know, I asked my mother, I said, what do fan clubs do? Because I'd never heard of that or anything. She said, well, I know sometimes back in the day with Frank Sinatra, sometimes the fan club presidents got to meet the guy.
So it just all gets fascinating. Little did she know that this was going to happen to her. It was fate. It was literally meant to be.
I said, oh, this is a done deal. We'll have this fixed. We'll have his fan club in 15 seconds. So, so I designed the fan club card, you know, the pink with, you know, this Presley pink fan club card, blah, 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 blah. I didn't know anything about anything.
I love this. Let's read it. The nation's first and largest Elvis Presley fan club. This Presley pink card certificate that then it gives the name of the member, is a loyal member of the coolest class in Elvis Presley's fan club. Kate Wheeler, president. Elvis is our cause. Wow. Now you imagine being a 16-year-old girl and you've woke up to these hundreds of letters. You are in a position where you can start an Elvis Presley fan club, and Colonel Tom Parker is talking to you directly. Amazing.
I'm 16 years old. I'm not a businesswoman or anything like that. And so I go to the printer and get them printed. I got 1,000 for $10. And so I said, well, what do we do next? And I said, well, you know, we just answer the letters. And so we all got together. I had people help me, and we sent them out the cards. And that's the way it started. It was just fun. The word for Elvis is fun. And I think that's why we like to remember him, because when he gets up there, he lets his hair down. He goes crazy. You know, he's wearing all the clothes that we wish we could wear. And, you know, he just kind of let himself go. And I think that's that part of him that we all kind of ID with. You know, let's get out of the rut a minute. Let's just let her hair down for 5 seconds. Let's just not be so political. Let's not be so full of everything else and money seeking. Let us just let our hair down and let's listen.
To read Karen's comment, I love everything that Jamie is saying. Jamie K is fantastic. Love it. Love it. She really describes it beautifully, so you feel like you're there. Yeah? She really, how can I say it? I imagine me being in her shoes thinking, yes. So Karen says, 100%, my son, 31, and I always hear Elvis blaring out of his car, and I think it's what you're brought up on, like me, though, my mum and my dad. Now, I haven't been as lucky as you. My older kids, who I did bring them up on Elvis, shy away from it. Anything to do with dad is embarrassing. But I will say this, guys. My little kids, Yasmin and Tino, do love Elvis. Yeah? And I was at the, I don't know if I've said this yet, but I went for a meal last night because today is my son's official 15th birthday, but we celebrated it yesterday. My son's called Giovanni. And whilst we're at the meal, this is no lie, guys, Billy Stanley tried to call me. This is the truth, guys. He said, come on, let's hook up now and talk. And I sent him a video of us at the meal. And my brother, my twin brother, I don't know if you guys know, I've got a twin brother, yeah? And I said to my brother, do you want to say hello to Billy Stanley, Elvis's stepbrother? And my brother was like, because my twin brother is an Elvis fan, yeah? He loves Elvis, just like I do, yeah? And he said hello to him. He said, he was very embarrassed. So he only said a few words. Let me see if I can find it for you. He was very embarrassed to talk to Billy because it's Elvis's stepbrother. Yeah. So let me just show you my brother's video. Let me see if it comes up. So Billy Stanley, let me just show you. Obviously, you guys know I'm very, very, very proud. I'll send it to you. As long as I got it on here. Here we go. It's only a 3-second video. Yeah, I've just sent it to Jane. But guys, it's 3 seconds. My brother was really shy. Now, let me just right, are we ready? Let's have a look. Right, here we go. Oops. Let me so put my brother on the spot. We're at the meal last night. Billy's trying to talk to me. He's messaging me. And then I say to my brother, come on, quickly say hello to Billy Stanley. Let me see if you... Elvis. Elvis. One more time. Elvis. My brother's like, I can't believe I'm talking to Billy Stanley, Elvis's stepbrother. Yeah. And so I could have, phoned him up and he would have let us do a video call. But it's my son's 15th birthday, so I thought my wife will tell me off. If I had started talking to Billy whilst everyone was there, my wife would have told me off. Anyway, let's keep going, guys. That's just our little what happened last night, yeah?
Into a song. And I think that's a part of the Elvis identification with the generation and the new people that you're talking about, that they are still infatuated with seemingly his freedom on stage. His freedom on stage is something to note. And I think that, it represented a certain amount in all of us, that we want to not be restricted too much by everything in our society or what the norms are, what we're expected to do. I don't think it's in our human DNA really to want to be pressed into the mechanics of everything that's around us. I think we want to be able to express our own individuality and freedom. And I think that Elvis represents that, not only to the first generation, which are now all halfway dead, but also to the new ones that are coming into the scene. And it happens all the time. It's still growing, which I think is cute. And I think it's okay to remember the good times. I think it's okay to remember the fun times. And Elvis was a highlight for the first teenagers in America and the continuing of it. He's still a highlight for a lot of people. Yes, they want to criticize you and say, why don't you just let that go? Well, I'm not going to let anything go that was fun, ever. Right. Not the popcorn, not the Ferris wheel, not Elvis, not rock and roll, not my baby girl, not my baby boy. I'm not forgetting anything that was great for me. So eat your heart out, Squares.
I love that. Let's get back to you talking about Elvis. He was a rebel in a lot of ways, and not everyone liked Elvis. Not everybody was an Elvis fan, which is important because it did not sway Elvis to be anything other than Elvis Presley on stage. It did not sway him from being the performer that has created this icon today. And I want to talk a little bit about that because you're part of that generation where you stood against the stereotype of what young people should act like at that time.
True. And that's part of his attraction, that he didn't change his routine or his stage presence just because everybody was attacking him. And the adult community was really not that crazy about Elvis. Most parents, especially in the South, they didn't want their kids dancing to that rock and roll music. Who is this Elvis? Oops, you're all under arrest, And so there was a real schism between the teachers and the adults and the parents and what the kids wanted to do. And we were just wanting to have fun, and we were just wanting to dance to rock around the clock. And we just didn't want to be like them, for sure. And
we are live.
Yeah, there was a lot of persecution about it. At school, the teachers, one guy at school grabbed my Elvis pictures and ripped them to shreds. grabbed them out of my hand forcefully. They were autographed, personally autographed. It was almost like a violent attack, you know, somebody just grabbing your purse and throwing everything on the ground, and he just ripped it to pieces in front of my face. And so that was the kind of an anger thing. And the Elvis thing for guys was not real big. Some of the guys that were really nice looking and didn't feel that threatened by Elvis, they liked him. But the rank and file, it wasn't a guy thing. Elvis was a girl thing. And now I think more guys are getting into it, into Elvis impersonation.
And I get that, guys. I can imagine, you know, come on, all of the girls fancied Elvis. A lot of them had boyfriends, and the boyfriends got jealous. I completely see that, but I've never felt that way. I literally adore him so much that if my wife fancied him, I wouldn't care. I wouldn't care.
And all that. I think I'm good with that. I'm kind of good with anything Elvis is okay. You know, if you want to get up there and put on Black Leather Dance, you know, go for it. It's like, hey, I wish both of my husbands had wanted to be more like Elvis. I'd still be married, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, me too, girl. Me too.
Do you hear that?
As much like Elvis as you really want to, go for it.
Yeah. Another thing we have in common.
Yeah, don't hold back.
So being that already the age that you are in the 50s, you guys, your group, your generation, you're fighting back. You're staying true to yourself. And one of those things is not only being a fan of Elvis Presley, but you're the fan club president. So can you talk to us a little bit about the first time you met Elvis Presley?
The first time was I got a letter from the Colonel Parker's office.
Jane, that's funny. Right. So I'm going to end this here as part one. And I'm now going to go over to Defending Elvis. I've got quite a nice little video there we're going to watch together. So let's just have a look. So I told them when I die, they'll discover Elvis because I will remind them of me. That's true, actually, Carolyn. I actually say something similar to my kids. I always say to them, camper vans, because you know I restore Volkswagen camper vans from the 1960s and 70s. And obviously I'm a massive Elvis fan. I always say to my kids, Elvis and camper vans will remind you of me even when I'm long gone. So Jane says, my partner gets jealous because I'm into Elvis. That's funny, Jane. Let's have a look. Carolyn, yeah, same here. My husband, it's jealous. So Carolyn, when I went to Madame Tussauds, they had an Elvis display. I was in heaven. I was standing by Elvis' wax figure, freaking out. Brilliant. So guys, this is part one. I'm gonna do part two later today. We are now going to all go over to Defending Elvis Presley, and we're going to do a Dave Stanley video review because I'm trying to learn about Dave Stanley. I'm trying to understand about all of the brothers. Obviously, they made mistakes. Now, we are very upset with what D. Stanley did. I'm not going to lie to you. We are shocked and we hate it. But I don't think that Billy should be punished for it because it had nothing to do with him. Billy told me himself that he actually tried to talk her out of it. So we're all going to go over there, guys. So I'm going to say goodbye and I will be back straight away. I'm literally going to come straight back, guys, okay? I'm going to jump over to Defending Elvis and go live there in literally 3 minutes. Okay, guys? So thanks for all for joining me. Elvis Presley fan on keto. We are going to do part two of this today. So I'll see you in a few minutes. Thanks, guys. All the best.